The wedding, which should have been a joyful occasion, turned into a painful memory because of my husband. It had taken us a long time to finally get married, primarily due to conflicting schedules, or rather, his lack of effort to align them. In fact, I didn't even meet my in-laws until the wedding day itself. Despite my unease, I trusted his reassurances and went through with the ceremony. During the event, I noticed faint snickering. At first, I dismissed it as paranoia, but a glance at my in-laws' table revealed they were laughing, though not looking in my direction. I hoped this was some odd attempt at humor orchestrated by Sam, my husband. Of course, it wasn't. The ceremony continued in a haze, and soon, the host signaled it was time for the outfit change. Wanting to avoid any attention, I quickly retreated to the dressing room. The second outfit was a striking red and black dress, stylish, perhaps overly so, but it complemented Sam's attire. As a video production professional, he had an eye for aesthetics, so it made sense. Walking through the hallway, the plush carpet felt oddly grounding beneath my feet, but my brief moment of comfort was shattered when I overheard a sharp, unpleasant voice. Instinctively, I hid behind a wall and listened. To my shock, I discovered how my in-laws truly felt about me. My name is Emma Miller. I work as a saleswoman for a foreign company, leading a fast-paced career. Most days, my work ends at 6 p.m. and I eagerly return to my apartment. On the night in question, I had 2 WhatsApp messages waiting after work. One was from a friend, which I flagged to respond to later. The other was from Sam. "I'd like steak for dinner tonight," he wrote. I realized there was no steak at home, so I stopped by the butcher's and bought premium beef from Sam's hometown, charged to my credit card. Of course, when I got back, I began preparing dinner. Sam poked his head into the kitchen. "I'll set the table," he offered. "It's okay," I replied, urging him to focus on his video project. As the deadline was near, grateful, he went back to work, and I couldn't help but think of how we met 7 years ago. We were introduced by a mutual friend. On one of our dates, some rough-looking men tried to harass us. Sam, quick thinking as always, pulled out his camera and recorded everything. "What do you think your company would say if I sent this video?" he asked them. Despite being 5 years younger than me, Sam's calm demeanor and reliability won me over. Initially, I was concerned about his income, but I chose to support him wholeheartedly. My biggest struggle was deciding between my career and marriage. 7 years ago, I couldn't have imagined the regret I'd feel now, wondering if I'd wasted my youth waiting for him. Sam had asked me to wait until his work stabilized before marrying. Outwardly, I agreed, but deep down, I longed for commitment. The loneliness of his absence gnawed at me. I tried chatting with him over WhatsApp, but he often dodged my attempts at deeper conversations. One morning, while making breakfast, I caught my reflection in the mirror. My face was neither old nor particularly youthful, and for the first time, I wondered if I was losing my appeal as a woman. That night, on our shared bed, I finally voiced my fears. "Sam," I began hesitantly, "am I not attractive anymore?" He looked at me, surprised. "Of course, you are," he said. "You're responsible, hardworking, and an amazing cook. That's what I love about you." "Then let's get married," I blurted out. Sam paused, then smiled. "Really? You think I'd joke about something like this?" That night, he promised me forever. We set a wedding date almost immediately. Sam insisted on the perfect day, citing the almanac, and brushed off my concerns about logistics. "But my parents can't make it on those dates," I protested. "Then they won't attend," he replied firmly. His resolute tone left me uneasy, but after 7 years together, I knew he wouldn't budge. Despite my unease, I tried to focus on the positives. I wanted to show my parents how happy I was, but guilt weighed heavily on me. My father was unwell and couldn't attend, which Sam apologized for but did little to accommodate. On our wedding day, I met his parents for the first time, feeling like a stranger to the family I was about to join. 7 years of love had brought me here, but standing at the altar, I couldn't shake the nagging thought that I had given up too much, my time, my career dreams, and perhaps even my peace, for a man who rarely met me halfway. I slept surprisingly well the night before, and a clear sky promised a perfect day for a wedding. Sam and I headed to the hotel for the ceremony. "Hi, I'm Emma. I look forward to being part of the family," I rehearsed in my mind, trying to stay positive despite my nerves. When Sam had shared photos of his family on WhatsApp, I'd noticed how much he resembled his mother. As I lifted my gaze to the sky that morning, I couldn't help but wonder what it would be like to spend my life with these people. "Sam, how's work going? Have you been eating properly?" his mother asked during their brief conversation. "It's tough, but I'm managing. I'd love to have some of Mom's homemade food again," he replied with a boyish smile. I glanced around and realized my own parents weren't there. Sam was busy chatting with his family, leaving me feeling like an outsider. As I tried to shake off the unease, I suddenly heard a baby crying behind me. I turned to see a young mother, likely in her 20s, cradling an infant in one arm while holding a small boy's hand with the other. The boy looked familiar, he resembled Sam. "Molly?" I asked tentatively, assuming she was Sam's sister. She clicked her tongue dismissively. "Congratulations, big brother, or should I say, my condolences?" I forced a laugh, unsure how to respond. Her tone felt off, and my unease deepened. As I tried to introduce myself to Sam's family, his mother, Emily, cut me off. "Thanks to Sam, we're having this beautiful reception at such a fancy hotel. It's almost too much." The conversation spiraled, with Molly joking about budgets and the family laughing at inside jokes. I felt a headache forming. Sam was smiling at me, but his gaze was distant, as if I were just another guest at the wedding. The ceremony began, but it felt hollow, without my parents there. I walked down the aisle alone. I heard faint snickers and glanced towards Sam's family. They weren't even looking at me. The day, meant to be joyful, was turning into a nightmare. After the ceremony, I changed into a red and black dress for the reception. It was stylish, perhaps overly so, but it matched Sam's outfit. As I walked down the carpeted hallway toward the venue, I overheard voices. Curious, I paused to listen. "She only married Sam for his money," someone said. "She's spoiled, we'll need to straighten her out," added another voice. I froze, my chest tightening. The voices continued. "She's just putting on a nice act, but we know her true intentions." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My mind raced as I realized Sam had told his family I was the one reluctant to marry. It explained why they saw me as some kind of villain. Moments later, Sam's family passed by, chatting loudly. "She can do the dishes, at least," Emily said dismissively. "She'll never manage both morning and evening chores," another voice chimed in, laughing. The humiliation was unbearable. The tradition of changing into a new outfit during the wedding, meant to symbolize a bride blending into her new family, felt like a cruel joke. I didn't want to blend into this family. Leaning against the wall, I heard Sam's voice. "What are you guys talking about?" he asked casually. "Oh, just how lucky you are to be marrying such a unique woman," Molly teased. I clenched my fists as they laughed. Even Sam didn't defend me. My last shred of hope vanished. Without thinking, I marched past them, catching Sam's attention. "Hey, wait, what's going on?" he called out. Ignoring him, I went straight to the host. "I need your help," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "Can you play this audio file? It's crucial." The host hesitated but eventually connected my phone to the speakers. The room buzzed with whispers as the audio of Sam's family's cruel conversation played. Their laughter, insults, and condescension echoed through the venue. The guests were stunned. Some criticized me for airing the drama, but my friends, colleagues, and superiors defended me fiercely. "Given the circumstances," I announced, my voice steady despite the lump in my throat, "I hereby declare this wedding cancelled." With that, I walked out of the venue in my wedding dress. By the time I returned to the apartment, my phone was flooded with missed calls from Sam. I answered one. "What the hell, Emma? Canceling the wedding? Do you know what you've done? The guests are furious, and everything's ruined." "Well, since I paid for the wedding, I think I have the right to cancel it," I replied coldly. "You're being ridiculous," he shouted. "No, Sam, I was a fool for not seeing your true nature sooner. I, Emma Miller, vow to divorce you." I hung up. Sam didn't call back. That night, I called my mother. "Mom, I just divorced Sam. Can I come home?" Her calm, reassuring voice on the other end brought tears to my eyes. "Of course, sweetheart, come home." I packed only the essentials and drove to my parents' house. They listened patiently as I explained everything, never blaming me or urging me to apologize. A week later, Sam called, but by then, I was already on a new path, one where I chose myself over someone who never did. I was discussing plans for the future with my parents over dinner when my phone buzzed unexpectedly. The screen lit up with Sam's name. Without preamble, he said, "I need to talk to you. I'm coming over." Then he hung up. "Who was that?" my father asked, his expression sharpening. "It was my ex-husband," I replied, watching my father's eyes narrow as he pushed his chair back to stand. "Honey, let's prepare the living room for guests. We should be polite," my mother said, rising from her seat with calm resolve. "Emma, take it easy, this must be hard for you," my father added, trying to shoulder some of the burden. I stood as well. "Dad, I'm 35 now, I need to handle this myself. Please let me." He regarded me for a moment, then nodded, his stern expression softening. "You've grown, I'm proud of you." Minutes later, the doorbell rang. I answered it to find Sam, his parents, and his sister Molly standing awkwardly outside. Their demeanor betrayed both urgency and defensiveness. Please wait in the living room, I said evenly, stepping aside to let them in. My family will join shortly. As they settled, Sam wasted no time launching into accusations. How dare you ruin my wedding, he said, his voice rehearsed but heated. His use of my wedding struck me, but I remained composed. You've made our family a laughingstock. Emily, his mother, chimed in, her words thinly veiled as she attempted to seem reasonable in my parents' presence. Molly added, poor big brother, how's he supposed to remarry with a divorce record? I have a divorce record too, I said calmly, and I was the one who filed for it. Her face reddened, but she said nothing more. Finally, Jack, Sam's father, spoke up, trying to sound authoritative. It's not just about the money, you've damaged our reputation. How are you going to make this right? My father, who had been listening intently, finally responded, his voice steady and deliberate. Let's set aside the fact that you didn't invite us, the bride's parents, to the wedding. What you're asking for is financial compensation, correct? His calm, gray-haired presence seemed to unsettle them. They exchanged nervous glances. Jack attempted to regain control by raising his voice. It's not just about money, he said. You hurt our feelings. That's the issue here. But my father was unshaken. Marriage is a partnership between families. How do you explain disregarding ours and making decisions solely for your own convenience? His logical demeanor contrasted sharply with their flustered, self-serving arguments. Their voices grew weaker, and soon, they were sipping tea my mother had brought out, their earlier indignation fading. Just then, the doorbell rang again. Molly's husband, Henry, had arrived late. When he entered, his expression changed instantly upon seeing my father. He turned pale and began trembling. What's wrong, Henry? Molly asked, oblivious. Tell them off, like you always do. Henry stammered an apology instead. I sincerely apologize for everything. What are you doing? Jack barked, bewildered. I decided it was time to end the charade. Henry works for a subsidiary of my father's company, I explained. My father is the president. The revelation silenced the room. My father, unfazed, addressed them calmly. Let me clarify something. During her time with Sam, Emma covered all their living expenses, including the allowance Sam sent to you. Jack turned to Sam, disbelief etched on his face. Is that true? Sam hung his head, unable to deny it. The family devolved into bickering, their earlier bravado completely gone. Before leaving, I added, I also helped Sam find work in video production, but I won't be assisting him anymore. 6 months later, I encountered Sam one last time at the local family court. After months of mediation, most assets were returned to me, leaving Sam with only his video equipment. His professional and financial life had unraveled, forcing him to move back in with his parents, who now resented him. A year after our divorce, I focused on my career and taking over my father's company. At a colleague's wedding, I caught the bouquet tossed by the bride. What does that mean? A friend teased. I smiled softly. It means I've had enough of marriage. My dedication now is to my work.